Okay, so my name's Brian. This is my grandmother, Hey. And I've been taking care of her for on and off to some degree for about 20 years now. About 3 years ago, I quit my job because I needed to quit my job to be able to get her the level of care that I wanted her to have. And she has dementia, and sometimes she doesn't know who people are, and she wants to fight with everybody, and the best way we found to deal with that is just letting her sit by herself for a few minutes to calm down. And so last week when this happened, she was left alone in the room to calm down, and she got up and she fell down and hit a chest of drawers in the dining room, and tried to doctor her up myself, but after a couple hours I couldn't get the bleeding to stop, and I took her with my sister to the emergency room, and that took 5 hours, and they said we needed to do an x-ray, and when we took her to the x-ray they tried to tie her down like Frankenstein, and so she started freaking out, and they couldn't get a good head x-ray because of her moving around so much. And anyway, they said they thought she was fine, that they put the stitches, the glue-on stitches, the crazy glue stuff, over her eye where the big cut is. And, so they did that, and came home, and she seemed to be getting better the next couple days. That was on a Wednesday night, and Saturday morning I went out of town. But I had a festival I was going to for my comics and music stuff, and evidently she fell down during the night, Sunday night, and did pretty bad damage to her knee. And then Sunday around noontime started becoming semi-catatonic and going into some convulsions. And that was the situation when I got home Sunday afternoon. And we took her to the doctor, and the doctor says there's internal bleeding on the brain, and there's basically nothing that they can do. And so we signed up for hospice, and they gave us morphine to give her. And I didn't know this, but they don't, like, part of hospice is you aren't allowed to artificially feed someone, which I believed that was true with intravenous feeding, but I didn't believe that was true with the feeding tube scenario. So consequently, today's Wednesday, and she hasn't eaten or had anything to drink since Sunday. I tried to giving her, I froze some juice in an ice cube tray, and I've given her some chips of frozen juice. And we have these little swab things. I'll go ahead and do it. That you put some water on these, and just to keep her lips wet, to keep them from getting chapped, and also her tongue, because she's breathing with her mouth open, and her tongue gets dried out in the roof of her mouth. And sometimes she likes to suck on it. I don't know if it's because it's cool or what. So anyway, I love her very much, and I feel at least partly responsible. I wish she was capable of getting better. I don't think she is, but I love her. And I'll do my best to take care of her for as long as I can. We had a priest come out today and did the anointing of the oil and all that. So this is where we're at. This is what life is like for me. And I wish I could fix it. Do my best to let her know that I love her. To let her know that I won't let her die alone. And let her know that she's my best friend. That she's my sun and my moon.
Hey, so it's 1 o'clock Monday morning, and my grandmother died about 2 hours ago. I was laying in bed with her when she died, and holding her hand, and I still barely noticed when she died. And reminds me of one time when she was living in an old folks' home. We were sitting in the dining hall, and there was the dining halls are packed. And there was a woman whose chair was literally touching mine sitting at a table behind me that she died, and I didn't notice it. And it makes you realize that people dying isn't as noticeable as you would want to believe it is. Anyway, I managed not to take her morphine and kill myself while waiting for them to come take the body, and they still haven't made it over to take the body. And they're going to do an autopsy, and I don't know. I think it's to investigate whether or not I was abusing her, based on the little information I'm able to gather from the hospice people, but that's what it sounds like. And I'd really kind of hoped that when she died it would be like a kind of a bigger deal, and that I would end up having a heart attack, because I've been having these chronic chest pains for the past year or so. And that would be kind of nice and romantic. This person that's probably the person you'll manage to most care about in your life, that you could die next to them. That's a nice idea. I don't know. And so yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, basically. just hoping that I'm not even hoping. I just don't have any plans. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Who knows? Does anybody care? I don't know. I don't know. All these motherfuckers are saying, "Oh, you did such a good job taking care of her," and I'm like, if I did such a good job taking care of her, why did she die from falling down? You know, why is it that I went out of town and when I left, I had made her breakfast and she was able to communicate, and I got back and she wasn't, and she had a fall that I probably could have prevented if I'd not gone out of town. You know, there's a lot of fucking bullshit. And, like everybody's like wants to be like, oh, she's in a better place. Well, I don't fucking care. I want her here. I want her with me. I want to take care of her. I want to feel useful. And I want to feel like somebody would notice if I died. And there's some things wrong with my brain that keep me from being able to do things. And of course, I realize that if I live to her age, there isn't going to be somebody taking care of me like I took care of her. There's not going to be anyone that's going to be the person that could do that. That's kind of shitty. Which I guess is another reason why I had hoped for the heart attack by her side. And I totally understand Robert E. Howard shooting himself in the head in his car. I mean, I'm really shocked that I didn't down the bottle of morphine. But yeah, that's my scenario. I don't know what else there is to say. Called my brothers to let them know that she had died. My mother keeps saying, oh, she's concerned about me, oh, she's concerned about me, and I'm just like, whatever. I'm a grown man. I don't know. I mean, she wasn't concerned enough about her own mother's life to take care of her instead of having me need to sacrifice my life to take care of her. So it seems like how concerned about me can she be? I mean, it's like a Monday morning quarterback or whatever. Okay, so in 2.5 hours, I guess, it'll be a week since my grandmother died. And I'm still lost and confused about what I'm supposed to be doing in life. And yeah, I really had thought that I would have a breakdown and have a heart attack and die when it happened, and I didn't. So it makes me a little confused. And both my dad and sister claim to have communicated with my grandmother since she's dead, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm like, it's like, are you fucking with me? Or, you know, if it's true, then, like, why them instead of me? Uh, but I don't know. I don't know. The times I get most upset is like when I have to make food, because for years, every time I make food, uh, you know, I'm making her a meal. I hadn't made a meal just for myself until this past week, and who knows, at least 3.5 years anyway. I guess there were times when she was in the home where I would make a meal just for myself. Yeah, I would, yeah, plenty of times then. But that year and a half. But you know, except for that year and a half she was in the home, you know, every meal for 8 years. Um, so yeah, yeah, and like going to the grocery store, it's like, oh, I don't need to go and buy chocolate pudding. I don't need to go and buy the strudel that she likes. I don't need to go and get this or that, It's just like, and I'll like hear a noise and I'll get up and go downstairs because that's what I need to do. But she's not there, the noise is just the noise the house makes or whatever. And, or, I'll just be sitting and working on something, and I'll look, where I normally worked, where I could keep an eye on her bedroom, and I'll just glance over, and there's the bedroom, and the lights are off, and the room's dark, and the door's open, and used to be that I'd glance over there, and the door's open, and there she is in the hallway, and I need to stop my work and go see what she needs, and it's just fucked up. And so yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I mean, I don't I don't really want to do anything, and I mean, it's been a really long time since I didn't have anything that I cared about, or a job that I could throw myself into, or whatever, When I was a teenager and my life would get screwed up or whatever, I would throw myself into writing and to substance abuse, and that pretty much lasted until and, and just about until I started taking care of my grandmother, to be honest. I mean, mean, I've been helping take care of her, but she didn't move. We weren't living in the same house until 2003, so there was, she would only live in this. We would only live in the same house a couple months a year. When in the winter time, I had to help take care of her in the winter. We'd take her to the mall to walk and stuff, but yeah, it's it's screwed up, and I feel like I can't talk to anybody about how screwed up I'm feeling because then they'll be concerned, and there's nothing anybody can do. So, I don't know. I kind of regret in a certain way, when somebody's dying, they tell you you're supposed to tell them, like, everything's gonna be okay and things will be alright without you and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there saying all that because that's what they tell you you're supposed to do. And I feel like I was just lying to her because I have no idea if I'm going to be okay. And I mean, like, I don't know if I'll be okay. I don't know if I want to be okay. And, I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I can't separate myself from how my brain is designed or whatever. So I can't tell if this is what it's like for everybody else, but it kind of sucks. And I don't know what to do. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe everybody else has the same problems. I mean, I guess relatively they do, and some of them, probably a lot of them, it's worse than me, and that's sad too, I guess. But I don't know. So I guess I'll just wait and see what happens. I mean, that's all I can do. So it's been 2 weeks now since my grandmother died, and the day after my last entry, I guess, I was in a car accident. That wasn't my fault, but the policeman didn't turn in his paperwork, and so getting my car repaired has been a headache. And in a way, I guess I'm glad it happened because it's given me something else to think about, be pissed off about. That's maybe putting me in a better space in a certain way. I don't know. And I ran away to some friend's house in the state south of me to get my mind off of things, but yeah, that's my story. There's nothing to say. It's all done, I'm wearing her wedding ring on my finger. I mean, then I guess that'll be the end of things. Alright, so it's been 3 weeks now since my grandma died, and we had this big thing or whatever down at my parents' beach house where they would never let my grandma go. That was supposed to be about her, but the only person that even talked to me about my grandma really the whole time I was there was my 5-year-old niece asked me if I missed my grandma, And I told her yes, and she said, didn't she used to take care of her? And I said, yeah, I used to take care of her. I used to make her all her meals and help her get up out of bed and in the morning and go to bed at night and everything. And she said, oh, like how I help my mommy when she's sick? And I said, yes. And that was the only conversation about her that I had with anyone while I was there. It was mainly, I mean, I guess it's typical when there are kids somewhere, it's the kids become the big show or whatever, um, which is fine. I mean, that's the way things work, but, it seems like, to me it's a big deal, and to nobody else is it a big deal, and I guess that's just like her being alive to me was a big deal, and to nobody else it's a big deal, so it all makes sense. But yeah, so I still don't know what's going on at all, as far as the rest of my life goes, and I don't know, I wish I could just find a place where I was like breaking mortar off of bricks or something, you know, uh, something real dumb and real physical, that where you can see the work that you've done at the end of the day, but I don't know how to score a job like that. So that's where I'm at. Probably the last entry in this, whatever this is. Bye. So it's been 8 weeks now, since my grandma died. That was a Sunday, and today's a Sunday. It's 11:30, and it was a little after 11 when she died, so yeah, pretty much exactly 8 weeks. And I've lost around 10 pounds, and seems like I walk around with whelping noises coming out of me randomly, and starting to cry and stuff like that. And what's weird about it is, so these things are going on, and I feel like I don't feel sad. It's just, I guess I must be, because I don't think it's normal for those things to happen when you're not sad. It's fucked up. And I know the reasons or whatever why I have the problems, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't know how long it's supposed to last, or how much I can stand, or when my body will just collapse, or what's going to happen. And I have a thing where I kind of feel like I let my grandmother down by not dying at the same time as her, because it negated my ability to take care of her in any way. Which, is a very fucked up idea, and not a healthy idea. I don't know. It's weird. So, that's where I'm at. The end. 2 months today, and it's 2 days before Christmas. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Ugh. I mean, there isn't anything that doesn't remind me of her still. I mean, food, eating food, taking a shower, brushing teeth. Yeah. But despite all this, I feel like I'm getting better, and like I'm getting more satisfied with myself as a human being. I mean, I'm a failure in certain ways. I failed my grandma in certain ways. Everybody's a failure in certain ways. So I'm trying to just keep it all in perspective, and that I did all right, you know. That's all there is, I guess, And my weight's been holding steady at about 117, and so that's good. And I was remembering today that when things with me and my serious or whatever ex-girlfriend went bad, one of the many times that things between us went bad, I got down to 114 pounds, and I survived that. So I feel like unless I get below 110, I don't need to worry about things, about heart atrophy and all that. I tried to do some research on heart atrophy from rapid weight loss, and I couldn't really find any decent answers. Oh, I can't remember if I've shown this in previous videos, but this is the urn my grandma's in, and I'm gonna maybe make some decorations for it. There were these beaded angels that me and her used to make, and I'm gonna make a swarm of them to put around it before it gets put in the ground. And that's today. Okay, so I don't know what day it is. It's Thursday, I guess December 29th. And I came down to visit my brother and his family for a few days, and gosh, yeah, my niece keeps accidentally making me cry. We went for a walk, and I picked her up and carried her, And you know, when you're picking up little kids and you bounce them a little bit, and she asked me if I used to bounce my grandma when I would walk with her. Oh, God. And then today I was making my niece some food, and she asked me about if that was the way I used to make food for my grandma. It's just, and it's fucked up that she's the only relative I have that's really talked to me at all about my grandma. Like, the fuck? Anyway, so my brother invited me to stay here semi-indefinitely, and it's just, I can't take it because it's just like it's really cool that he's happy and successful, he's in a good relationship, and he has a kid and everything. I'm really happy for him, but it just reminds me that I don't have anything going on right now. And, we watched this Peter Pan movie, and then you know, they have this thing, it's like where you think happy thoughts or whatever, and then you can fly. And, so I guess, I don't know, I guess that my niece goes to some kind of yoga thing, even though she's only 6 years old, and they talk about something about your happy place, and so that she was associating that with the Peter Pan thing, and she was asking where my happy place was, and I was just like, I don't have a happy place anymore, you know, because it's like your happy place, I guess, is supposed to be your home, and Ethel's my home, and Ethel's dead. So it just switched over, and it's 2012. And last night I'd had a dream about my grandmother, that she came back as a polar bear, but not like a real polar bear, more like a stuffed animal polar bear, except for, you know, like a baby stuffed animal polar bear, except for larger than me in size. And anyway, so she couldn't stand up, and she was laying on the ground, and I got down to give her a hug, and she wrapped her arms around me and started rolling around, smashing me on either side of the floor, and just breaking all my bones. And that was the dream, whatever that means. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I mean, it's been 10 weeks. Today I was walking around literally wailing, like emitting screams I couldn't control, like I had fucking Tourette's. And I don't know. Last week I was working on a musical album, basically based on what I'm feeling or going through or whatever, and it was for a particular label, and then today that I got an email from that label saying they didn't want it for various reasons, one of which was it being Christian oriented, which whatever, but that I was, I don't know. I mean, I wonder if it was somebody that was close enough to me that they knew the backstory of the record, if that would have altered anything about it or not, and if it should. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. And tomorrow I'm going on tour for a couple weeks to try and knock myself into a different space, but wow, it's gonna be interesting because I'm touring with a band that I don't really know the people in the band, and I'm not going to have that much alone time presumably, and if I have a fucking breakdown, which I do almost every day, it'll most likely end up being in front of someone. Either A, it'll be in front of someone, or B, I will somehow figure out how to stop breaking down every fucking day. And I don't know. At least I'm not crying right now, I can't remember if this is the first video where I'm not crying or not. Oh, there was something kind of important, I guess. Forgot. So, sometimes I have this problem that my left arm goes pretty much completely numb, and then inside my chest it starts to feel like something's clamping down on my heart. And so I hadn't had that since Ethel died, I don't think. And so anyway, normally what I would do, the past couple of years when that would happen, is I would take I'd just be like, oh shit, I'm gonna die, and so I'd take aspirin, because that's what they say to do when you're having a heart attack or whatever, and I keep some nearby at all times because of that. But so this morning I was laying in bed and just I have trouble getting up and facing reality lately, and so anyway, it's just laying there, and then my arm went numb and my chest started to hurt, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm ready. And so then nothing happened, which was kind of anticlimactic. All that happened was my chest hurt really bad for a few minutes. Then it stopped. I've been laying in bed, and then laying in bed I'm working on my fucking bullshit business, whatever. So that's where that is. I don't know. I don't know what it means. I had a dream last night where I was like at a buffet or something, and so I was getting all this food, and then when I looked at my plate, it was like I got all this food that I would never fucking eat, like including like stuff with meat in it and stuff, and I realized that I was making a plate that I was supposed to be taking back for me and Ethel to share. And then in the dream, in this context, wherever it was that I was, my niece was there, and she looked at my plate, and she was like, why is there meat on your plate? It's just like, I don't know. There's no explanation for that, because there shouldn't be meat on my plate anymore. And that's that. So, I've been on this tour for a few days now, and I'm not so sure it was such a great idea for forgetting things, because we're staying in people's houses, and all these people's whose houses we're staying in, they have their crap together. Most of them have kids, and then they have nice, happy lives where everything makes sense. And then all the other guys that are on the road, they have loved ones that they contact every day about like what happened that day and stuff, and I don't have a person like that anymore. Just kind of amplifying how alone and isolated I am, which I guess is just the state of things, and I just need to figure out how to deal with it. So, yeah, it's not exactly what I anticipated going on. That's my story. So, I'm still on tour, and we've been traveling through the part of the country that looks like where I would have to drive to take my grandma back and forth to Pennsylvania and to go up to visit her throughout the 90s. And yesterday I started crying in the van, thinking about her. And I came to this realization that instead of it being that I should, there's traffic going by. Instead of it being that everything reminds me of her, and that paralyzes me and keeps me from being able to work, and it being a curse, it should be that everything reminds me of her, and that means that she'll always be with me, and that's a blessing.